What's up, wrestling fans? You're watching Fight Talks News, the one-stop spot for every WWE headline and showdown. Subscribe now and ring that bell. Let's get started. When Monday Night Raw faded to black, many believed they had just witnessed the conclusion of a long-running mystery. But that assumption could not be further from the truth. What aired on television was not the end of the story, only the surface-level moment WWE wanted the audience to focus on. The unmasking of Austin Theory was framed as a shocking reveal, yet in reality it functioned as a signal, an intentional misdirection meant to draw attention away from something far more consequential. The true shift in power did not happen under the bright lights of the arena, but in the quiet moments that followed, where no music played, no cameras rolled, and no commentary guided the narrative. The reveal that raised more questions. Austin Theory standing unmasked should have answered everything, but instead it opened the door to deeper uncertainty. Yes, the identity of the masked attacker was finally confirmed, but motivation matters more than identity, and Theory's actions felt far too calculated to be impulsive. The timing, the targets, and the precision all suggested planning beyond a single man acting alone. Rather than closing the mystery, the reveal exposed a larger question that now hangs over Monday Night Raw. Was Austin Theory the mastermind or merely the messenger? Seth Rollins and the betrayal narrative. In the immediate aftermath, the emotional focus centered on Seth Rollins, whose reaction framed the story as one of personal betrayal. Rollins spoke like a mentor who had watched a promising student abandon everything he was taught, painting Theory as reckless, bitter, and misguided. That perspective made sense emotionally, but it was also incomplete. Rollins was responding to the version of Austin Theory he once knew, not the man standing before him now. By treating the situation as a personal failure rather than a strategic threat, Rollins revealed that he might already be one step behind. A student no longer seeking approval. Austin Theory's evolution is the most overlooked element of the entire situation. He is no longer chasing validation, spotlight moments, or approval from veterans. His actions show patience, restraint, and an understanding of timing that only comes with guidance. This is not the behavior of someone lashing out emotionally. It is the behavior of someone executing a plan. Theory did not just turn his back on his past mentors, he outgrew the need for them entirely, stepping into a role that demands calculation rather than impulse. The silence after the show. What happened once Raw went off the air matters more than anything that aired live. As the crowd filtered out and the production noise faded, the atmosphere backstage shifted. The chaos that usually follows a major angle was absent, replaced instead by something colder and more deliberate. This was not the aftermath of a surprise. It felt like the conclusion of a process already agreed upon. When Theory walked through the gorilla position, he did not enter confusion. He entered confirmation. Paul Heyman's quiet presence. Paul Heyman's involvement reframes everything. He did not react with shock or curiosity, because this was not new information to him. His presence carried the weight of inevitability, the look of someone watching the final piece slide into place. Heyman does not invest in short-term chaos. He builds long games, aligning himself only with individuals who can shift power structures. If he stood waiting, it suggests Austin Theory was not just approved, but chosen. The shadow of Brock Lesnar. Where Heyman goes, Brock Lesnar is never far behind, even when he does not speak. Lesnar's role in this dynamic is less about immediate action and more about deterrence. His presence alone changes the math for everyone else. With Lesnar looming as the ultimate enforcer, Theory gains protection that few on the roster can challenge directly. This is how empires form in wrestling narratives. Not through loud declarations, but through silent alignments that make resistance feel futile. A new power structure emerges. This alignment represents something far more dangerous than a standard alliance. It blends youth, influence, and Raw dominance into a single structure that can control momentum without needing weekly displays of force. Austin Theory becomes the visible face, Heyman the strategist, and Lesnar the unspoken threat. Together, they do not just target individuals, they reshape the environment itself, forcing others to react rather than act. The fragile state of the opposition. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Rey Mysterio each stand as symbols of resistance, but they are divided by history, pride, and unresolved conflict. Punk's battles are personal, Rollins are emotional, and Mysterio's are rooted in legacy. Unity does not come naturally to them, and that weakness may be exactly what this emerging force is counting on. Individually, they remain dangerous. Together, they could be unstoppable, but hesitation could cost them everything. Why this moment changes everything. This storyline works because it shifts the narrative away from surprise attacks and toward long-term control. It is no longer about who struck whom, but about who benefits when chaos unfolds. The reveal of Austin Theory was not meant to shock forever. It was meant to distract just long enough for the real power play to take shape. That is what makes this moment feel different from standard twists. It carries consequence. The question, hanging over Raw. Monday Night Raw now stands at a crossroads. Either the locker room recognizes the threat early and responds collectively, or the new power structure tightens its grip while everyone else argues over the past. Wrestling stories thrive on moments like this, where perception lags behind reality and only those willing to adapt survive. The question is no longer whether Austin Theory can stand on his own, but whether anyone else can stand against what he has become. The beginning, not the end. If there is one truth to take from this chapter, it is that nothing has concluded. The mask coming off was not closure, it was escalation. The silence backstage spoke louder than any promo, and the alliances formed there will shape everything that follows. This was not the climax of a storyline, but the opening move of a much larger game, one that will test loyalty, force unlikely alliances, and redefine what power looks like on Monday nights.